Welcome back to yet another part of Higurashi When They Cry. So, shall we see what kind of face Rena's been making? I've really been looking forward to this. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body.
言ったよね。
Yeah, I knew it.
ケイチ君。
Yeah. It was that person that I didn't know. At least, it definitely wasn't Verena Ryugu I'd been talking to up until now. That voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling or emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced through like a cold needle. Like the needle that was in your food! The smile on her face that invoked the image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Okay. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. As if to remind me of the fear from that time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face had filled my entire field of view. Oh, I was kind of actually hoping that it would be like just her face, filling the entire screen. Then, her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper, like the curve of a crescent moon. She grinned.
言ったよね。ケイチ君。
Uh-huh. After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again.
サトシ君はね、転校しちゃったの。
Transferred, meaning what? Yeah, what? What Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was previously not aware of. But transferred to the demon realm, yeah. My throat and lips dried up. I couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. Rena, and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. But I could neither stand nor escape her gaze shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand, but right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin. So, word of advice in the future. When Rena's acting weird, don't turn her around. Let her face away from you so that she can still keep being Rena.
しないよね。ケイチ君は。
Rena finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. But her question was missing something important. It was incredibly vague. Once again, I swallowed hard, urging her on.
何をだよ。
What did she not want me to do?
転校。
I don't know why, though. Why is that the thing? Don't transfer? Does she literally mean don't transfer, or does she mean don't, like, disappear? In which case, why? And they're not going to answer me, okay. Pitch hitter. Is that what I can't even read, the text is too small. Oh, an achievement. Satoshi and I had what? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi, had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason, at least none that I had noticed, planned to kill him? Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself, and carried it around every day to practice his swing. Swing? I wonder, if the four of them aren't actually aware of it. Do they only notice some, Satoshi changing, maybe? And then, one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recurse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? The first transfer, as in Satoshi, and my transfer. Was Satoshi still at wherever he was transferred to? We know the answer to that. Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Oops. Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? Asking all the wrong questions. What did she mean by transfer? That's a step in the right direction. What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a single key attached to my first seal keychain. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me. Okay. Like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? It had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space, all the way through the door. But there was undoubtedly someone behind me. Now here's the question. Do you look back, or do you not look back? Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know they're there, even though they're behind you? Yeah, because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason I'd hear that sound. That was the presence. Ooh. What presence? Because I could hear the sound of them blinking, or... You probably weren't aware of it, but I was blinking quite a bit just then. You probably couldn't hear it. Just gonna put that out there. Keiichi Maibara, there's no way you could hear that. Exactly! My most base instincts were warning me of a presence. Common sense were telling me that it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time, I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? An uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there was someone behind there? If there was nobody there when you turned around, would you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all those questions just by looking behind me. But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Oh right, I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was just a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just so long as I didn't have to turn around. But they're not going to answer that now, are they? If I'd calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that that wouldn't have solved anything.
どなたですか?
I spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt it. There's no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Katie. It's all in your head. That time I was certain I heard it. I'm creeped out now. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. Rika? I heard it. Oyashiro-sama? I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired a primal yet fitting solution to this current predicament. A scream. I don't know how I feel about that. All the force in my body released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. Oh, you get to see now? There was nobody. Oh, it was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. Till the moment I turned around, till I brought the area behind me into my field of vision. They were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of a presence suspended in the empty space. It couldn't be. They were invisible? They looked like they weren't there, but they were actually still standing there? As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. Are your parents home, though, maybe? However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. Oh dear. That emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from a bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. I wonder if something similar happened to, photographer. I totally know his name. The metal bat held firm in my right hand, as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remembered reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. I brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation of metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed into the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. I don't like this music. I mean, I like it. It's very good at its job, but I don't like its job. Very calmly, I transferred the force of a rebound into a sweep to the left. The door of a shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Yeah, you're just wrecking your entranceway now. Those two swings whipped through the empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from that space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was in and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My scream shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing with even more destructive power. Crack. Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike, with certainly fatal force behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat, the invisible enemy, there but not there, dispersed. When I was certain that the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. No way. Had it only feigned retreat and was now inside my house? Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence. But it was gone. I had succeeded in fending it off. In that moment, the tension drained from my body, and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All of the emotions I'd been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest. Exhaustion. Not sure if that's a feeling, but okay. Even in this moment, I remained composed. Well, I mean, smashing a cupboard hardly seems composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all my idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that of the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was an apparition I dreamt up in my confused state. But I really didn't think that was the case. Are you sure, Sama? Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Compose yourself. No matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon, and without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. And then you just went ahead and screamed without giving them a chance to answer. How rude. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I had been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Rather than possessed by Oyashiro-sama's curse, maybe just Oyashiro-sama, like right now. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would be admitting that it was Renner and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Oishi-san and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of Oyashiro-sama's curse, I wondered what would happen. Oishi-san's clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words seemed pretty dependable, but as things were now, the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oishi-san that this was the work of Oyashiro-sama's curse, what would happen? I couldn't imagine his reaction, but would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. For me having so few allies to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit to doing that. I'd better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There was still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought I was composed, and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was what was really happening? I would be able to refute Oyashiro-sama's curse. But if I denied Oyashiro-sama's curse, that would mean admitting that Ren and the rest were perpetrators. Or that you're mad. If I said that Ren and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I'd be admitting I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. So if 3 makes a trilemma, I guess that means 2 makes a dilemma, and does 1 make a monolemma? I want to use that word now, monolemma. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what has actually happened as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Ishiro Summer's curse wouldn't exist, and I would still be bestest buddies with Renner and the rest. I would have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I'd wished for such a thing. The dreaded phone call. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed off the bed and went out downstairs.
もしもし、前原です。
ケイイチ、お母さんだけど。
I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative.
何？別に俺、夕食はインスタントでもいいよ。まだいっぱいあったでしょ？
The other day, we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they refused since the individual packs were expensive. So instead, I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavoured ones I liked. But my parents don't like strong flavours and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards were still full of them.
だからさ、買い物に行く必要はないんじゃないの？
ケイイチ、買い物のお願いじゃないの。お父さんとお母さんね、お仕事の関係で急遽東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。
え？
What?
今から？
This was really abrupt.
もう着いちゃってるの。
Wait, what? Okay.
お昼には出発してたからね。
It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Gunning at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Yeah, I'm surprised. Okay. It's like, yeah, we're in Tokyo for business. As in, we're currently in Tokyo. Yep. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. So yeah, just tell their son when they're already over 6 hours away. It's like, yeah, we're kind of in Tokyo. Sure thing.
ケイイチもお父さんとお母さんの話を聞いてたからわかるかもしれないけど、お父さんのお仕事の契約がね、今ちょっとうまくいってないの。
Now that you mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all that time about how his job prospects weren't looking so good. So does this mean they're going to end up moving out or something, maybe?
お父さんはそういうのに繊細な人だから、このままだとお仕事にも影響が出ちゃうの。
Give him a chance to escape this, like, nightmare, hell, escape. Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions changed as easily as the fall sky. You could also just say he didn't take criticism.
でも、そんなの電話でやり取りすればいいじゃないか。
ケイイチ、お父さんのお仕事なんだから、もうちょっと応援してあげて。ね。
This is my life. Can you support it, please? Please? I don't want to die.
とにかく電話よりも直接会って話した方が早いの。誤解もないし。
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for them. Yeah, as for his son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work.
だから帰るのは明日の晩になっちゃうの。
Okay.
圭一、一人で大丈夫よね。
Probably not, but okay.
別に死にゃしないよ。
Hmm.
圭一、死んじゃうなんて軽々しく言っちゃダメよ。心配事があったら相談してね。
Yeah, this whole town might be out to kill us. Just gonna put that out
母
there.
さん、きっと相談に乗れると思うから。
I'm sure you can help with all those people trying to kill us. Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I supposed they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying. At least, not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it.
死なないよ。俺は、あがいてでも生き延びる。
He sounded a bit too serious saying that. Maybe you should have gone like, even if I'll have to gnaw my leg off.
そう。じゃあね。明日の朝、ちゃんと起きるのよ。朝ごはんは食べてね。お風呂と歯磨きも忘れないのよ。
That is, if he lasts until morning, then he needs to wake up. You need to be alive to wake up, so make sure you're alive in the morning.
へいへい。そんじゃ。
I'm just remembering the whole thing where Mion's saying like, what was it? I know everything that happens in this town. So does she know that his parents are in Tokyo? That's the question. They probably would wait to the next Onikakushi, maybe? Maybe not if he's, like, since he's, like, investigating them. Anyway, the call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings. But Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. The times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. What if someone in the town made it happen suddenly? I couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange, or rather, unnatural. Exactly. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone, missing, vanished. Looking back on this series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oyashiro-sama's curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on in the whole house was from my room on the 2nd floor. And all you can hear are the Higurashi. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and this was their chance. First I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned on the TV to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside it would look like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda, with laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. I snatched out the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. It should be fine now. Ah, the garage! They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone up to Okinomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This wasn't good. I panicked and rushed out to the back to close the normally open garage door. It should be fine now. Ah, I needed to get the paper. I mean, it's gonna look suspicious if it's normally open and now it's closed, though. Yeah, I don't think there's any way of escaping the fact that they know that your parents have left. And they've been gone for a few hours now. And then they won't see them come back. Mum always got the paper, since they left in the afternoon. The evening paper was still out there. Okay. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the doorway. With this, for sure this time, it should be fine. Right? Okay, well, like whenever I see anything with a door just there, slightly creeped out that something's going to be coming. Anyway, come to think of it, even the cupboard busted like that from my little freak out was kind of bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell. The bat I was holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mum got back and scolded me. I remembered that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. As I was going to get them, the phone rang once again. Who was it this time?
もしもし、前原です。
あら、圭一くん？お母様はいらっしゃいますかしら？
今ちょっといないんですけど。
You idiot, Keiichi Maebara. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. I think it... I wonder why she's asking. I was going to say it's probably, like, for people who care already know. But maybe that's why she's asking? I don't know. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it.
すぐに戻ると思います。
That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say they'll call again, or tell her to call them when she comes back.
なら結構です。大した話でもありませんから。では失礼しますわね。
Are you for or against us? The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. But did it? That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with a phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation or improv. I could have just gone improv and it would be fine instead of mumbling over my words. But anyway, hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in comments, and next time we'll be in for a night on our own. Until then, see ya.